Now, let's talk about some of the emerging technologies and scalability. There's obviously a lot of talk around based radio resource management, AI-based wireless troubleshooting, spectrum management automation, all of these things. How that is that integrated in the certification program?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as these new technologies come along, we first of all, we hit pause when it's only one vendor that's doing something. We usually don't really include that in our materials, but when multiple vendors do it, like for example, there was one vendor who did, let's call it automatic channel management for the radios, to give a generic term. Then another vendor did it, then another vendor did it, and we said, okay, this is something that is going to be used across vendors. So we started teaching about radio resource management or automatic radio management or whatever the vendor decides to call it. And then, of course, we had a vendor come along that really focused on AI. And so at first, the brakes are hit. We say we're not going to cover it until this becomes more vendor neutral. So what it really comes down to is if it's something only one vendor is doing, that's not vendor neutral. That's something very unique to that vendor. And so we're not going to really deal with that or address it. But if it's something that multiple vendors end up employing, like AI is becoming now, then we'll talk about the different ways they do it and make sure people understand, what the requirements are for that AI to work if it's being implemented and what it's really going to do for them and what it's not going to do for them. Because we look at our main objective for our students as helping them to understand what's going on under the hood of all the switches and toggles and configuration dialogues. What do they actually change about your environment? What do they do in order to, for example, with AI or RRM, what do they do to understand your environment so that they can automatically configure it?